Hello everyone, welcome back to Life Clinic Podcast. My name is Olafisoye Ige, and thank you so much for joining me on this series on living victoriously through difficult time. And congratulations, you've come to the last episode of this particular series. And in this episode, we are talking about building resilience. Resilience basically is your ability to bounce back, to come back, and what I call your elasticity. Your elasticity. You know, in physics, there is something called the elastic limit. The elastic limit, for some of us that we do not have a background in physics, a typical example is a rubber band. You expand a rubber band, it has a limit to its expansion, and it has a breaking point. But you see, one thing about humans, or one thing about you that you are listening to me is, yes, you have an elastic limit. You have your elasticity. You have your breaking point. But your elasticity can be built. Your elasticity can be increased. So basically, what I want to talk to you in this particular episode is how to build your elasticity. How to build resilience, such that if, for example, you are someone that give up easily whenever you are faced with slightest challenges, slightest difficulty, now that is okay. It is fine for you to say that, okay, that is who I am. That's fine. That's a place to begin. But you need to understand that if you keep up with that kind of attitude, you are not going anywhere in life. So it is important for you to understand that, okay, this is who I am now, but I want to change this about myself. I want to have a position in my mind whereby I do not give up easily, because anything that will ever be great, or anything that has ever been great, faced different sets of challenges. So how do you develop your resilience, or how do you develop your elasticity? The first thing is for you to develop healthy coping mechanism. Now, what do I mean by healthy coping mechanism? Now, I've talked about coping mechanism in my previous series. But one thing you need to learn about coping mechanism is whenever you are faced with a challenge, what are the precepts? What are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things that you do, formulas that you do to address every challenge? Listen to me. The application of those formulas might not be the same for every challenge, but you could have 1, 2, 3 things you do to every challenge. 3 things. 1, 2, 3 things you do to every challenge. And that is what I call coping mechanism. You see, and this coping mechanism is different for each person. For example, one person's coping mechanism could be that at every point I am faced with a challenge, I'm going to step out and first find out what is the cause of this challenge. Instead of me attacking the challenge, looking for solution, firstly, I want to find out what is the cause. You see, there is an axiom in Yoruba. I will say it in Yoruba, then I will interpret it in English. It says, Tomode ba shubu awowaju, botagba ba shubu awenyi. Now, basically, what does that say? That when a child fall, or when a child fell, he will look at the front. But when an elderly person or an adult, fell, the person will look behind. Basically, these are 2 coping mechanisms. The first person, which is the child, is moving forward, looking ahead. But for the elderly person, is looking behind. What made me fall? So these are different coping mechanisms that you can employ. For somebody or for yourself, it could be that you want to practice introspection. For some people, it could be you want to practice journaling. You want to jot down things. You just want to properly document or tabulate. You want to properly tabulate your thoughts so as to properly segment them. Listen to me. The first way for you to develop resilience is for you to have a formula to address every issue. Is for you to have a formula. For some people, maybe, okay, the first thing anytime I'm faced with a problem is to talk to God about it. Is for me to pray about it. For some people, is anytime I'm facing any major problem, get a book about it. Learn more about it. But ensure that you have a formula. You have a coping mechanism to every problem. Number 2, the power of self-compassion. Listen to me. Listen to me. You can't kill yourself. Right? You can't come and go and die. Just like my people here will say, you can't kill yourself. You should not kill yourself. So don't overrun yourself. It's okay for you to make mistakes. Yes, it is. I know some people will say, no, they don't agree. That's okay. It's okay for you to make mistakes. The only thing that is not okay is for you to stay on your mistake. It doesn't matter how many times you fall. The Bible even said the righteous will fall 7 times and it will rise up again. Right? So it is important you understand that you practice self-compassion. Be compassionate to yourself. Now, that does not mean you should be complacent. It only means that you give yourself space to make mistakes. Give yourself the opportunity to explore. You know, some people overrun themselves and some people underrun themselves. That is still because they are not compassionate to themselves. So be compassionate enough to yourself for you to exploit it, for you to adventure into things. This will help you to expand your elasticity. Because a lot of people think that building your resilience is basically eating it hard. But listen, you have to also learn how to take it soft. Yoruba people said, Maja Masa, laughing making koju. Like, you know how to run, you know how to fight, you know how to retreat, you know how to go ahead. That is the secret of warriors. So any warrior that knows how to attack and does not know how to retreat, that warrior is getting to his or her doom as soon as possible. Another thing that I believe can also help you is for you to find meaning and purpose. Finding meaning and purpose helps you to launch back. You know, I talked about taking few steps behind. But when you understand why you are doing this, it gives you dopamine. It gives you the adrenaline to fight again. So understand your why. Understand the why for that particular thing you are doing. Understand the why of your life. And lastly, cultivate inner strength. Cultivate inner strength. Listen to me. There's this particular scripture, Ephesians chapter 3, I think verse 14. Paul was praying and he said that he may be strengthened with might by the Spirit in your inner man. You need strength in your inner man. You need strength within. And I am of a strong opinion that this strength comes by the Spirit. This strength comes by the Spirit. The Bible said, it is not of him that willeth, it's not of him that runneth, but of the Lord that showeth mercy. And that's why the Bible talked about waiting upon the Lord. That they that wait upon the Lord, they will run and not be weary. They will walk and not be tired. Right? they will fly with wings. It is important you understand that you have to cultivate inner strength. And listen to the word I use. Listen to the verb I use there, cultivate. You take it step by step, precept upon precept, line upon line, cultivate it. Give yourself to fasting, give yourself to reading, give yourself to studying a page a day, a chapter a day. Just take it gradual. Cultivate it. Today you water it. Today you wet it. Today you plant it. Paul planted, Apollo watered it, but it is the Lord that giveth increase. Listen to me. If you practice these things that I am teaching you, if you practice everything I've mentioned in this particular series, I tell you, it will help you to navigate, to live victoriously during difficult times. And let me say again, tribulations will come, challenges will come, but fortunate is he who is able to stand when this time comes. That is why the Bible said, put on the whole armor of God, so that you will be able to stop the fiery darts of the enemy. And after all the battles, after all the darts, after the war, after the challenge, so that you will remain standing. Thank you so much for listening to this particular series. I hope to see you in another episode. God bless you.